greeting people out here in the reception area. It's just like a great big family reunion. You fill my heart just being able to shake hands and look you in the eye and know how much you love God and our country and our families and life and marriage and the pillars of American exceptionalism, all wrapped up together right here. I asked my friend Chuck Hurley to give me a short introduction, so I really was a few steps away from the door when I heard my name, and I was just starting to write a speech for you all, which I seldom do. But, you know, we got up this morning with an anticipation that we would find out who the next president of the United States would be. And I turned on my television early, and actually somehow an internet site came up and told me who it would be about 6 o'clock this morning. So I was glad I made that decision, and I looked at this, and I think, okay, who around here today actually knows and works with Paul Ryan? And I claim that. I worked with Paul Ryan now for 10 years in the United States Congress. And what I said about him today is that he is a blue-collar guy, he's an outdoorsman, he's a faith and he's a family guy, and on top of all those credentials, he's a policy wonk. But what you know is this, he's a pro-life, pro-family family man, and we need that in the White House. When I look at where this country is today with the President of the United States that has been eroding the value of our families, he's directly assaulted innocent unborn human life. They have put out an executive order within hours of him swearing into the presidency on January 20th, last 3.5 years ago, when he said it was above his pay scale to answer the question, when did your life begin? He got a raise and decided that it must not have been at the moment of conception. What a sadness for America to be put through 3.5 years of this, another almost half a year to go. But the prospects on the other side are this. We can elect a president who is clearly a pro-life president, a president who is a family president, and a president who has raised 5 sons that have gone all over this state, and there's not a single negative narrative out there that I've heard. That tells me the values are there. And it tells me also that the executive experience that we need in the White House is on its way. And I look at Paul Ryan, whom we know that he sees the long-term effects of this budget. And he said that we're going to make the changes in Medicare and Social Security to get it back under control. That the overspending and entitlements are more than we can sustain over the long run. I'll go further. I will say it's immoral for us as a nation to live as we do today by mortgaging the labor of our children and our children yet to be born. I want to challenge Iowans and the American people to step up to this, to make the call now. Now when we have a look at who can step into the White House and what that team might be, let's challenge them to call for a mandate from the American people to pass a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution out of the House, out of the Senate, and send it to the states for ratification. My most recent little granddaughter, and this little girl was not anticipated as I didn't know what her name was going to be. But I got an email from my youngest son about 20 months ago, and he said, Lindsay's on her way to the hospital and she's in labor. Or at the hospital, actually, in labor. So I headed to the hospital, and on the way there, about 15 or 20 minutes out of town, out of Carroll, Iowa, I got the next email that said, congratulations, you are the grandfather of a perfect little baby girl named Reagan Ann King. And you know, it's kind of hard to drive very fast when you're wiping your eyes. I got to pick that little girl up as soon as I arrived there, and she wasn't more than 30 or 40 minutes old. And I held her as long as they would let me, and I had to give her up to her mother, who sat up in bed, and Lindsay is my daughter-in-law's name, and she held Reagan in her arm, pulled the blanket back, looked down at her, and then looked up at me and said, "This girl has no chance to grow up to be a liberal." share of the national debt. And on her first birthday, $48,000, and at a year and a half, $51,000 is her share of the national debt. And we're looking at $16 trillion in national debt. It's unconscionable. And the president has put Obamacare on our head and taken away American freedom and American liberty. The most sovereign thing we have is our soul. And we protect that, and we pray to hold it together, and we pray that His Spirit flows through all of us. The second most sovereign thing we have is our health, our skin and everything inside it. And Obamacare is a federal takeover of our skin and everything inside it. It's a nationalization of our health care, and it's a 10% tax on the outside if you go to the tanning salon. It's got to go. We elect Mitt Romney. We will repeal Obamacare. We do that. I want to put it on the podium. And my goal is this. And first I want to encourage our pastors is, preach the word from the pulpit. If you're a little worried that the IRS is looking over your shoulder, call me. I'm there with you spiritually, and I'll come and be there with you physically if I need to be. I'll stand next to you, and if you want me to say it, I'll say it. But let's make sure this next generation learns about the nature of America's freedom, the pillars of American exceptionalism. But let's look forward to January 20th, 2013. And that'll be the day. And I hope that it's my bill, but anybody's bill that says what mine does, the repeal of Obamacare as if it had never been enacted. I want that on the podium January 20th on the West Portico of the Capitol. And with John Roberts giving the oath of office and Barack Obama looking on, I want the hand up with a pen in it. And I want the next president to sign the repeal of Obamacare before he shakes the hand of John Roberts. Thank you all. God bless you.